What's up, fight fans? What's going on out there, man? It is the home, made man in the building. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing, man. Going down. Salute to the fam. Salute to everybody that catches this live. Salute to everyone that catches this on the playback. You know what I'm saying? Another day, another dollar. You know what I mean? Good morning to everybody. We are live about 10 a.m. here in the DMV, man. Want to get on here for a quick word, quick discussion this morning before I hit these pavements, man, and see what's going on out here in these streets. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell y'all something, man. One thing I've been seeing with this coronavirus thing, this COVID-19 thing, one of the most scariest things that's coming out about this is the restructuring of business, the restructuring of retail. And that is the scariest thing I think that's coming out from this. See, what I do as a seller online, you know what I'm saying? I look for all kind of opportunities. And trust me when I tell y'all, for anyone who's thinking about getting into this, there's a lot of opportunity right now. Meaning because a lot of businesses, unfortunately, are biting the dust. And they're not making it through these tough times, unfortunately. And the unfortunate thing about this is that companies like Amazon, well, they're worse than guys like myself, where these dudes, they sweeping in and just buying whole businesses. Like when Toys R Us went out of business, Toys R Us wasn't tripping off going out of business because guess what? Amazon bought it all. These shopping malls, same thing. I heard Trill talking about it. Same thing. And it's scary as hell. Why? Because it puts the little guy out of business. Most important. And most importantly, the most scariest thing about it is that they're monopolizing several industries at the same time. That's unprecedented. It's one thing to have one company come out and take one business and monopolize it. But when you're doing several at one time, that is scary. That is scary. And so it's guys like me that got to get to these businesses before Amazon does. Because Amazon sit back and they wait on moments like this to buy it all up for cheap and resell it. That's what they do. So it's scary times, man. Retail restructuring is crazy right now. But anyway, let's get to the boxing talk, shall we, man? I just want to get in here real quick discussion. And that is about Jermell Charlo, current 154-pound WBC champion. Jermell Charlo is trying to establish and assert his dominance at the 154-pound division. Do y'all see Jermell Charlo as the number one fighter at 154? That is the golden question. In my opinion, Jermell Charlo has done a lot of good things. He's got a decent resume for anyone who was willing to get in there with him. Been in there with the likes of Tony Harrison, been in there with the likes of Austin Trout, been in there with the likes of Erkson Lubin, Charles Hadley, John Jackson. You know, those wasn't the greatest names in the world, but coming through the ranks, that's decent competition. You know what I mean? And his next one, big unification fight with Jason Banana Rosario. It's going down. I can't wait to break that fight down. So he's done some really good things at 54. He really has. Has what Jermell Charlo done thus far, has that established him as the most dominant fighter at 154? Riddle me that. Or does he need more time? Or does he need to create more separation from the other fighters at 154? Now, my thing is, like I said, he's done some good things. But unfortunately, he's in this mix of names. We don't got a victory over Erislandy Law, who was seen as the number one guy for a long time. We don't got a victory over Jared Hurd, unfortunately, because Jared Hurd lost his belts. You know? And I think victories of that caliber would have helped create a lot more separation for Jermell Charlo. But I will say, after this next fight with Jason Rosario, Charlo, he number one. And I'm well on record, always going at Jermell Charlo. B-side Charlo is what I used to call him when he was going at my man Jared Hurd. But now, I mean, given the current landscape at 54, it's going to be hard not to give it to him. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to say this. I ain't never happy with how Jermell Charlo treated Tony Harrison. I thought that Jermell Charlo should have gave Tony Harrison that third fight, and I still do. You don't split 1-1 and then walk out the door crying. I'm not giving him another shot. It don't work like that, bro. You lost the first fight. Whether you believe you won or lost, you lost. And you are 1-1 with that man. How you ain't going to get that man his third fight? and then walk out the door like, I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to have a conversation about it. That's not how dominant fighters move. You want to prove that you are number one. And unfortunately, in Jermell Charlo's head, he never saw himself as losing. So he doesn't feel like maybe he got to go back and make that right. But amongst boxing fans, especially in boxing fans in Detroit, you got to make that right, homeboy. And that's how he look. That's how you got to do. That's what dominant fighters do. Let's get into this quote by Jermell Charlo. And I quote, "Well, if it aligns the right way, I think everybody is on the Jermell Charlo hit list. They know who the man in the weight division is. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, become the lineal champion like Tyson Fury? Since day one of this weight division, my brother, before he left, I was already fighting the top 10 guys. And I have been fighting the top 10 guys. Jared Hurd is still available. If he still wants to fight at this weight, I don't believe so. There's Erislandy Law, if he's still available. I got anybody that want Jermell Charlo. I am a different fighter, and nobody is on my level, and nobody can stand in front of me at 154, end quote. He says no one can stand in front of him at 154 pounds. He better lose that type of attitude going up in there with Rosario. Because Rosario, big, strong, big puncher. I don't want Jermell Charlo going into this fight thinking I'm just going to walk through this dude or try to bum rush this dude like he's tried to do with like Austin Trout or like he tried to do in the first Tony Harrison fight. That is not the strategy here. This guy can punch. And if you getting standing in front of this dude, willing to trade with this dude, well, you getting him into the fight. Do I think that Jermell Charlo can outbox Jason Rosario all day? And maybe he should consider doing it that way. Because trying to go in there, trying to bump rush this dude, don't know, especially in the early rounds, this dude is strong. J-Rock is strong. J-Rock is very strong. Unfortunately, on the inside, he couldn't even tussle with Rosario. That's Rosario's strong point. I wonder, will Charlo give that to him? Because we know the mindset of Charlo. He wants to go in there. He still has that chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove to everyone who he is. You see him right here. He wants to assert his dominance. And he wants everyone to know that he is the dominant factor at 54. And sometimes that plays out too much in the ring for Charlo. It's one thing to say it in interviews, but it's another thing to get in the ring and just to fight like you just can knock everyone out. You know what I'm saying? Very little head movement, just going in there with something to prove, throwing them big hooks, sometimes becoming bit inaccurate. I still don't know how great his accuracy is because when he proved it to us against Tony Harrison only had one good foot. This is the stuff that people don't like to hear. Harrison had one good foot and Charlo went in there with the same mentality. Now, I expected Charlo to fight that way and he should have fought that way. Don't get it twisted because you got to do with one leg. But at the end of the day, like, we haven't seen much changing or much boxing finesse, if you will, added to Charlo's style since he's been with Derrick James. It's been more of a plotter, been more of a big puncher. And I don't know how that works against Jason Rosario. That's something that we all can see. But we know what's instilled in him from Ronnie Shields and what he can do also. And that version of Jermell Charlo, mixed with a little bit of the Derrick James version, that's, to me, definitely good enough to get past Jason Rosario if executed properly. I like Charlo, man. I do. I always gave him crap because of the Hurd situation, but I still like him. Now, you look at his resume right now. Like I say, Austin Trout, Lubin. I mean, to say that is he the number one dude at 54? I mean, you look at Jared Hurd's resume because they both got losses. You look at Hurd's resume and it's almost similar in level, if you ask me. I mean, Hurd actually has a win over Laura. He actually has the win over Harrison without losing. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. And, you know, I think that, truth be told, is similar in level. They both got losses. So Charlo just needs that separation to say that I'm the number one guy. Not to mention if he beats Jason Rosario, he'll have 3 belts. So that is like without question. It ain't even going to be no more question after this fight. Who is the number one cat? Who is the most dominant cat? Now, Charlo calling out everybody. Everybody. Even when he was going at Hurd, man. You know, Hurd was like, I got to take a break because of the shoulder surgery and I'm going to take a break and then get back to him. And he took that J-Rock detour. Yo, man, Charlo's been standing right there calling everybody. Everybody. And I used to call him B-side Charlo. He beats Jason Rosario. That name is gone. and respect to Charlo because he drops that name not from talking and what he could have, would have, should have done. He loses that name because he's getting in the ring and he's taking on the best at the class and he's calling out all of the best at the class, and that is nowhere. So salute to Jermell Charlo, you know, wish him nothing but the best. I just hope that that mentality has somewhat changed, because you can run up into a punch that's bigger than yours, my friend. I like the old school Charlo. I like the Ronnie Shields version. This Derrick James version, don't get me wrong, I like his brashness, I like his rawness, I like his passion. I like the fact that he took control of his own image and did his own YouTube channel, because he hates when guys like myself and others cover him and put him out there the way he don't want to be covered. So I'm glad he took his own image and said, you know what, a lot of these fighters are starting to do that. Beware, YouTubers. You know what I mean? But screw letting these guys talk about me and put me in certain lights. I'm going to do it myself. I'm tired of dealing with it. I actually give him respect for that. So, I mean, I like Charlo. He wants to assert his dominance. He says he's the most dominant guy at the weight class. I believe that this next fight will prove it, especially if he goes in there and he stops Jason Rosario like Nathaniel Gallimore did. If he go in there and stop it, he's going to make an epic statement. And that statement is going to be heard around boxing. But I said, he don't really got to stop him if he dominates this dude. And he gets these belts. Charlo is going to walk around boxing like the straight, real version of Clubber Lang. That dude going to be running up on everybody, walking around in chinchillas, rings on fingers, all that. And he deserves it. So we'll see. Salute to Jermell Charlo. The number one, he says he's the number one most dominant fighter at 154. If he beats Jason Rosario, I got no reason to say he's not. He's always focused, always in shape. You know, never been at 54 for a long time, but yet ain't missing weight. Discipline between fights. We'll see. This is the moment that Jermell Charlo has been waiting his entire career for. It wasn't the Tony Harrison fight. It's this fight. So he can walk around and say, I am, without a doubt, and by a mile, the number one fighter at 154. To the next video, man. Let me get up out of here, yo. Get the day started. Much love to the fam. Much love to everybody that caught this live. Everybody that catches this on the playback. Jermell Charlo versus Rosario. Looking forward to this fight, bro. Real spill. You know what I'm saying? But most importantly, Charlo finally can walk around with confidence and proud, saying it loudly and proudly. He said he was going to set out to be the number one guy and dominate, and he did it. Respect. To the next video. Thumbs up. Peace out.